And on the top side of the map, you can also deny the Lucian army if you so wish. No, they're not going to do that. They take the Draven this time. They're going to lock that one in. And there's no Ashe on the other side to be allowed because it's been banned away by LNG if you wanted to lock in the Ashe Braum. And that's an Annie. So, reminder, this is the new patch. This is 13.3. Annie's had a lot of buffs, including her shield, which gives you a lot of movement speed. It gives you a lot of course, it's a shield as well, which can allow you to play very aggressively in support or mid lane. You can play this in either lane. It's a flex pick. Haven't cast it before on this patch yet, so we can do a lot of learning together, you and me, Mazel. But that's the theory.
Well, we're on our hike, and that's a perfect place to learn. I do really like to see that Draven AD lock in. I'm really sticking with it. Hey, we pack bags for it anyways.
Now Tibbers is here. Does that work? Yeah,
that works. Hey, there you go. You're buying it. Commit to the bit.
Nice.
But that strength in the bot lane is super important, though. Now that we see what our 2v2 is going to be, I'm very much looking to see what this Annie can bring to the table with the Draven. But on the other side, we have already seen today what this bot lane of the Caitlyn plus the Lux can be.
Okay, so it's actually going to be
there's that
flex. So the flex pick's been used up, so Nautilus is going to be alongside the Draven. Honestly, Draven Annie doesn't sound like the worst lane ever, particularly because Annie now starts with her passive charged. It means you can get a stun at level 1 without having to charge up something like your E on, like your cone. I can't remember what's your E or W actually on Annie, but you don't have to charge that up at level 1. Nautilus doesn't have to worry about that. So lots of ability for LNG to make level 1 plays. Honestly, I'm wondering if LNG, even with these 3 picks, wants to start stacking up at level 1, going towards bot side and see if they can catch someone out. So keep that in mind. I wonder if BLG and LNG will wonder about whether Sejuani needs to be taken off the table in one of these bans. I think LNG will be maybe looking to deny that again away from the Jax. At least gone away as well because of the early pressure. Junglers being picked on 4-5, not something we see as much in the meta right now.
So I'm just going to throw this out there because then in the future I can say I'm big brain if it does come through. There has been the rumblings of the Nautilus jungle. I actually got to see it in an ACL. Obviously a very different level of skill.
There's one game of it in CBLOL as well, but it went like 0-7.
There's flexibility. Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to happen. We'll see how it works. But there is a lot of focus towards the jungle matchup here and the mid lane matchup for LNG. They banned away that Silas. They also banned away the Sejuani. We'll see what BLG's final ban is here and especially how they'll try and set themselves up for a second phase where they definitely want to continue this early aggression style.
So, good thing about both these junglers is that even though there's a lot of jungle bans, you do have a couple of specialties in them. Kindred player, carry player as well, play stuff like the Elise. I don't think Elise is, the Nidalee rather, which we've seen, we saw that once today already, but the Nidalee going to be harder to pull off in this game. So, Shun, looking to see, I actually wonder if you lock in a jungler right now as Tarzan just to deny one of the remaining ones.
Yeah,
maybe you could lock in something like a Wukong could work here actually. Wukong could be an answer if you want something a bit more aggressive. Take that away from Shun as well. Instead,
I like this,
buffed
though.
Lee Sin. Lee Sin was buffed as well. His Q got massively buffed. He's got like a 20% extra bonus AD scaling on his Q, and I believe that's on both parts of it as well, the XQ and the base damage. I'll need to check that on real quickly. Either way, you get hit by a Lee Sin Q. Good luck. It's a lot of damage. You're going to get assassinated.
Yeah, Tarzan's most played champion of all time, getting that serious comfort here, and love to see that for LNG. And man, we were talking about forward aggression for BLG, both sides just dropping down the fisticuffs this time around. We will see Shun on this Vi again, and I want to see what they can pair up with him to maybe have a little bit more stability. And there is a pick that I love to see for Yagao, and something he popped off on the last time we got to see him with it.
Well, it does stop the Lee Sin dashes as well. It means that they have to kind of charge through that. I got the numbers a little bit wrong on the Lee Sin Q. It's actually only 10%, but that 10% applies twice because it's on both parts of it. So it's 20% overall in terms of bonus AD extra scaling. So keep track of that damage, and of course keep track of what Zika is going to be putting into that top lane. Last pick, understands
that's so
Jax
clutch.
And Kennen does bully out the Jax. Because it is Jax, you expect it to be AP Kennen. There is build diversity. We've seen a bit of AD Kennen, but into Counter-Strike, taking extended trades versus the Jax, kind of annoying. So expect that AP Jax. Now you suddenly have, like, Whirling Death following up onto a Tibbers and the Slicing Maelstrom. BLG, if they ever stack, if Caitlyn and Lux ever get flanked onto, it is lights out. They need to be the ones catching people out of position and stopping LNG from teleporting behind them. Vision control is key. Understanding where you're able to be flanked from is key.
I just love it because we're getting such forward progress, I feel like, for both teams into the second game because of the way that they've drafted themselves. I'm sure getting onto the Rift here for the second time of this series. LNG have looked oh so dominant. That has not changed today. Will their mid jungle still be that bright spot, that star in the sky above the LPL nightlife?
So, not going to be the level 1 like we were potentially worrying about. Tarzan stood back.
That's the turtle side, but we can't see it. Raise it up. Look, it's you see the little back. You see, it's like a turtle.
Scout turtle. Aw.
Somebody at me to tell me why Scout's a turtle.
Okay, but yes, that too, and also, you know, does he have the same properties as a Mario Kart like Koopa shell as well? Because I did see that shell, and I'm like, did look like he had like the red shell tracking on his shock blast in that last game.
That is a good point.
That one sits. that one's fine, but the J, somebody had to investigate that one. That's it. Should be a green shell, but it's got too much tracking on it.
And do want to come off that first game, especially put a little bit more focus now that Scout will have this Annie. We're finally getting it. Was banned away at our first series, but it is against Yagao's Taliyah. We said a little bit of difference when we're looking for those big power spikes. And we'll see some milestones hit again for this day as we have the 500th game for Yagao and the 200th for On.
And we've had a lot of milestones being hit. We had, Kanavi's 300th game as well. Like, a lot of players really, really kind of getting to that point where they're leaving a real tapestry, a history behind in the LPL. Number of games left to be played here in this split, and today,
oh, there's the flash. That's going to be cleanses used on both sides. Who's going down first? LP, you got to be careful. Oh, no! BLG! They get the first blood, and that's huge. Maybe they can try to catch down Hung, but it is just a big advantage for this Caitlyn Lux bot lane.
That was an insane cleanse from Elk. Cleanses every single tick of damage from the Ignite. There was no extra damage coming in there. Instant cleanse on it. And that means that Elk can sit around, understands that they have the damage to make things go further. Watch how this plays out again. Goes for the flash passive.
And he got the stun cleansed as well.
Cleansed everything. And this flippy bot lane, which we didn't get to see in that last game because of the Braum kind of denying things, immediately goes the way of BLG. Caitlyn looks her ahead. Good news for BLG.
It is something to write home about here early for BLG, something they didn't have last game. Now I am looking at Tarzan to try to get something upended a little bit now with a little bit of confidence built for BLG's bottom lane. We did see junglers start on top side of the map heading down towards this bot side, so I would expect that skirmish to continue to be present.
It's top lane, kind of the side quest island again, where you kind of sat here just auto-attacking, trying to bully out.
What kind of umbrella do you like in your coconut drink? I think I asked Yamada this as well one of these days.
I feel like it's got like, if it's got like, it can't be just the one color ones. I feel like it's just a little too basic. I mean, normally I'd be okay, but if I get to choose, I choose to do like a nice little pattern on it. Maybe it has like a little like floral pattern on it. That'd be kind of fun.
Be cool if it was League of Legends themed.
Yeah, wait, could you just match? I mean, this sadly isn't Pool Party Lee Sin because he has the coconut on his his Q. Yeah. He throws that. That would be great. But yeah, maybe I'll take that into future consideration. Maybe next time I go for a coconut-based drink, I'll say, can you replicate this from a very specific cosmetic from League of Legends?
Please. I need you to record that. I want that, you know? for research purposes. We do see that Tarzan will take this double scuttle in plain view of BLG. So a little bit of that forward progress from LNG in terms of getting those neutrals, at least thus far, but it's still BLG that will have a lot of strength to write home here in that early kill in bottom lane.
They will. So, Tarzan gets the double scuttle, as you were mentioning, but very hard for you now to... Oh, Scout.
Oh, Scout, you're in a little bit of danger here. Maybe you need to call a friend, as that will not be the kill going over. One more auto tag needed, and Tarzan capitalizing on Yagao, and LNG are on the board.
Tarzan to the rescue. Scout flashes away with a sliver of HP, but it's more than enough. Man. Tarzan picks the kill, and that is so sad for Yagao. Yagao, he had outplayed that early laning phase. He got the knockbacks. He traded through the wave. It was going oh so well, but jungler comes in first. At least one lane for LNG coming out to an early advantage.
All right, LP and Elk trading pretty heavily, but Elk definitely has that upper hand right now. That extra longsword in tow, and they have Shun, who's just been waiting down here in this bottom side. Will actually sneak his way into the forward bush.
How much can he realistically do here? Flash on Draven.
Tarzan's running down here. I mean, I don't know if this is like a 100-meter dash, but Tarzan is definitely on his way.
Yeah, he's thinking around this bot side. Shin taking a lot of time here. Doesn't have, of course, Herald's not spawned. It's not like you can put that into the wave or anything like that. Maybe he was wondering if Tarzan would make his way down. Hex Flash from Hung available. If he wants to make his way over the wall, this could be both junglers trying to outread each other. They're going for the Hex Flash.
Shun's walking away though, and now Tarzan's here first. On! He's going down, and LP's cashing in. The adoration from LNG overfloweth, and Shun is trying to stop the re-engage. They get one back, but it's the bottom lane that has paid the price. And double kill for LP.
It's a cash-in and another kill onto LP. And Shun spends so much time trying to read the play, knowing that Elk doesn't have flash. There's a likelihood that some play is going to be made, but doesn't stay until they backed off from the tower. LNG and Tarzan, once again, with a very organized early game. Tarzan on this Lee Sin, using the buffs on the champion to just really rule this early game.
240
now, as soon as you
extra.
killed this Caitlyn Lux, you've killed this Caitlyn Lux now. As soon as you kill this lane, they have so much less value. You've given the extra gold over Draven, who now has a shutdown, by the way. Has 150 on top of that. And LNG, despite giving up that early kill, they're in a very happy spot again.
Yeah, and again, LP being a guy who, this is the call-up year, right? Like, this guy was a developmental piece for LNG, and he's able to come to the stage, join the likes of Scout, of Zika, Tarzan, and Hung, and hang with them, if you will. And I love that confidence that in game 2, they say, we'll take what you could not execute on in game number 1, and we will figure it out.
Oh, level 6 for Tarzan. If he finds Shun, that could have been really, really dangerous. Tarzan, at a point where, again, the burst damage is absolutely surreal from this Lee Sin. He's been out of that. He's been out of meta for a little bit. We haven't seen him nearly as much. Seen him here and there, but again, got to be pay real attention to that. Shun doesn't have the level 6.
Yeah, level 6 from Yagao. This is, yeah, Weaver's Wall is coming across. They're pulling the trigger for BLG. They feel like they've caught Tarzan, but he does get over with the dash over the wall.
Gets away alive. Was wondering if he was going to look for a kick turnaround, but afraid of maybe that dash.
Oh, they're going in. Look
in.
how much damage On is taking from LP. Another one bites the dust, and LP's axes are looking for blood. Flash kill, another double, and it's off to the races for the killing.
Oh, call him, just take the L out of his name at this point. He's handed it to Elk and On for another time. 4 kills on the Draven. Last game, it was Scout's turn to do the carrying, but the Draven's online. LP is here to play.
Taking the Draven that Elk tried to pull off last game, and they are oppressing them bot lane, but it's Hung and LP's quick decision-making that make the difference.
And this is why the last play we were talking about saying, yeah, you know, you've killed the Caitlyn Lux, they lose a lot of their value after they die for the first time. They don't have summoners. I mean, you see that last flash over there, but I mean, they started that play off because Lux didn't have the flash. You can't avoid that, Draven and the Nautilus. You've given the gold over to LP already, and now he comes back after those 2 kills with a full Bloodthirster. You can't even hope to poke him out with stuff like the E, or the Lux E, or the Caitlyn range with the Qs as well.
This is a nightmare.
It's the worst nightmare, because
this is like the worst solo queue nightmare you could ever ask for.
Yeah, because it felt like, you know, it felt like a lot of this game was going completely fine, but you make a handful of mistakes and LNG absolutely pounce. Give him an inch and they take the whole arm. At least the Caitlyn able to push in towards the turret. You have level 6 on the Lux now. Maybe a little bit afraid of someone like Shun coming down with their own ultimate, but with the Bloodthirster, is happy to take up another skill shot or 2. He's got more than enough lifesteal now to start sustaining through the bits of harass which Elk and On are putting towards him.
See if LP and Hung can dissuade this dive a little bit, as another turret plate about to fall down to BLG. So they've gotten a little bit of that gold back for themselves here. See if LNG want to take an engage, as Shun is right around the corner. Getting this Scuttle Crab mid lane though. Scout gets the tippers, the cleanse from Yagao utilized, and Scout able to push off the mid laner of BLG.
And that's just the only thing he needs to do there. Just make sure that Yagao cannot influence this next play. Dragon's up, Shun's in the bot river, and by kind of taking Yagao off the map, you're making sure that LP and Hung can keep playing through their own 2v2 as well. LNG securing their bot lane success. Top lane going fairly well for Zika as well. The Kennen, you know, bullies out early. Jax is not going to be a huge side lane threat, as you say that. Been looking.
He's going all in. It's the Grandmaster's might. He's going in. That's the Slicey Maelstrom back, though. That's a little bit of that diciness in the top side, though.
There's no damage build up for Bin just yet, just has those Merc Treads, and Shun, once again, trying to find his way into the game, really struggled to really make the game-changing plays. LNG have done that largely through lane. Shun has to do it through the jungle. Scout's coming up towards
Scout's
top
on
side.
his way, though. This is a big difference maker. Ben trying to bait it out. There's the cease and desist from Shun. They're under tower. They can get Zika, but it is Ben that
so
doesn't
close.
get traded back. That's actually huge. And Scout there just to try and clear this wave.
Oh, that is so sad for Scout, but something finally goes in the direction of BLG yet again. It's been a large phase of this game now where they've had to sit, just look at this Draven get more and more scary. Their bot lane falling behind despite the CS advantage in the early kill, which came out of that laning phase. It is a kill over the Shun. Well, obviously, I think it would have probably been preferred to head over to Bin if at all possible. Not able to be secured at that point, and now we're back onto the map. Yagao has ult, has flash. There's no one here to shield this lane.
They will not see him just yet and see if he can find something in these side lanes. That's that roam play that we need to see from Yagao. We're going to take a replay back at that.
So, Scout's on his way up. I think BLG are really fortunate this works out. If Scout has his stun right now, that would have been absolutely disastrous. You get maybe a double stun under that turret if you get the disintegrate on target. Not quite charged up for that point, and they do get away with it. 1 for none at the end of the day.
We do see that Gore Drinker completed for Tarzan while the Black Cleaver is there for Shun. As we go back onto the map here, I would expect this plate to be very close, or at least this bottom tower be very close to BLG trying to take it down. And I think that is that saving grace, right? When we were looking at the gold earlier with the gold toggle for LNG, it wasn't that big of a lead for LP. While they did take advantage of the item spike for LP and still hiving that actually over Elk, because of all those plates going back down, there was a little bit of give.
Well, and the thing is, right, when you have a matchup like this, well, okay, stop talking about that, ult on the tower, stops Shun going for the dive. Zika happy to play weak side for now, doesn't have a stopwatch, uses alternator. Very importantly, clears the wave, which allows his team to go towards this mid lane. Yagao, at least able to get back and respond. Scout actually didn't get in range for any of those plays. They went over towards Tarzan, so Scout missing out on a bit of that gold. Roam towards this top side now with Yagao's ult down. He can't respond as quickly to this play.
They're actually trying to look to catch out Yagao on his way. They're like, we're going to catch him. Oh, no. But an engage goes on to On. They're flashing from LP. And On's health bar just doesn't exist anymore. More adoration stacks and more love and more gold. And Elk has to flash away from LNG's bot lane while a TP gets pulled as well. Yagao, he's trying to make the gap close here. He can't get the knockback, but they get hung. And he does end up getting the toss as 2 kills go to the BLG mid laner.
Yagao is trying as hard as he can to make something of this game. Shun finds Zika alone in this top side.
Nice little damage here. Beautifully executed from Shun, and that's a solo bolo.
It's a solo kill, and suddenly all of this early gold, which is built up.
Oh, we're getting more. That's a kick ready to go and executed on our LNG's dive bot side. Final spark does come through, but LNG gets something back.
It is just this one up across the map, trying to see at least where people are on the map, where can we make the next play. It goes from top side, looking a little bit around what can happen with the Yagao ultimate being down. That flows into bot side. Okay, maybe we're isolated here. But Yagao's already made his way back down to the bot side. It's this continual flowing of members across the map. But LNG give about as good as they take, despite it looking like a losing situation overall. With that kill under mid tower, gets a little bit closer than you think. It is another shutdown for LP, which is 423 gold in pocket. A little bit more than the average. Take away a lot of these summoners, but Yagao getting in for this double kill is so important. Big. It is so important. Yagao, in game 1, was a passenger. He is trying to wrestle control of the steering wheel away from BLG, away from LNG in this game. He's doing a pretty good attempt of it. Shun hasn't completed an item here. He has the Black Cleaver. As soon as you get on top of someone, the sticking power from the Shred passive from that is actually very important. Gives the extra ability to really chase people down once you've got your Black Cleaver fully stacked on them. And Zika caught out of position at that one. Gonna go straight back into the action though. Second Herald's back up. Looks like everyone's rotating towards this. Not every summon is available.
fight, 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 fight. That's all I see here. It is blood across the board. It is the Rift Terror going to BLG. Zika can't find the in with the slicing maelstrom on the back, but maybe Tarzan can. He goes in onto Elk. He doesn't get the lockdown, and Tarzan flashes away as the Timbers had come out as backup reinforcements. And ultis used, but no blood.
Oh, the drive-by Unraveled Earth from Yagao stuns Tarzan as he's flying across Yagao onto his teammate. The stun onto the Lee Sin means you don't get a flash kick onto someone. It means you don't get a kill back. I think Tarzan just tried to check if Yagao's reaction time was up to par on this one. Luckily is. BLG walk away with the Herald. They walk away without losing any members for it as well. It's very dangerous when you're quickly moving to these objectives.
God, we just go from one end to the other here. It does not stop, but Yagao finding out Hung here. Nice little knockback, and Hung is gone. The depth charge does get used, but LP and Tarzan have to run away. I don't know if they can. Yeah, chase down, double counter strike. Nice blast cone. Will actually get one of LNG out, but it is the bot lane that has been sacrificed.
Seriously, Yagao is not willing to let this game go away. He wants it to go to a game 3. BLG, team that's got very even game score. They've given as good as taken against everyone in the league so far.
The fact that we talked so much about mid jungle in this one, and game 1 was so holistically in Tarzan and Scout's favor that we get this bounce back. That pick I wanted to see from Yagao, the Taliyah working beautifully in tandem with Shun, who will be picking up this vibe for the second time in a row. But it was about execution for me. It was about finding those advantages, and they've done that. Their connection has been so incredible. And now that we get a little bit of that sustain from Yagao with the crown completed, on the other side you have the Roa. You're getting some stacking. I think Yagao has the staying power to make BLG push into the late game.
Yeah, and the very important thing here from BLG is that they are the ones kind of deciding when the play is made. Elk has...
Oh my god! Nice. Oh, it goes golden. Hung, you got to try to do something here if he can save him, but the headshot's too big. Elk, you're going to go down to Timbers. Woo! That was so close. That was an angry bear. Here comes
Draven,
the whirling death. It's not going to go through. Nicely blocked from On.
Plays blocker and saves his AD carry. These teams very much buying into the skirmishes across the map. And as we were just kind of talking about before this, very important that BLG are the ones deciding where the play is made. If they slow down for a moment, there's a chance that a flank teleport from Zika comes in. If that Kennen gets onto the backline, if you manage to combo that up with the Annie ultimate as well, the Tibbers on the backline, BLG don't look nearly as close as they do in this game. This was Scout trying to just stop some replays, some backs, and maybe takes one more turret shot than he really should do. That turnaround is insane. Yes, Annie has pretty insane AP ratios and has a lot of gold in this game so far from the work he's done before, but just about gets out on getting that Lux shield through, blocks out the Draven ult, make sure that they get through out of that alive.
Very, very close. But now we're looking back at item scores. We got some more weaponry to field across the teams. We got second items completed for both ADCs, both mid laners, or at least Scout a little bit less off that second item spike. We see the Rift Herald used by BLG, and they're up in the tempo a little bit.
Yeah, and again, this is so very important for them. There's no flanking wards for them to get caught out with in this case. Zika has the flash, has the ult. Again, Zika, if he gets involved in these fights, changes the tone of things very drastically. Everyone else kind of struggling to kind of go straight down the throat of BLG. Too much range, too much ability to ward off with On and Elk pushing forward. There is a flash on Scout. Watch for that. And LNG, they're just looking for that first just opening from BLG to let them into the game.
Just trying to break open the dam brick by brick at least and let that water flow here. Should be the push from mid lane. Not going to look for that tower just yet. We are looking at a collapse maybe from BLG though.
Important thing which just happened in that play was you see that bush that everyone's recalling in? There's a ward in there. They see them there. LNG, if they ever get that kind of vision and it sticks, that breaks the game. BLG, they need to play as though they always need to be checking for wards. They miss one of them, teleport flank comes through, game ends. So LNG grouping up to try and force some vision into the deep jungle. See if they get any dividends
Everfrost from On, interesting.
Huh. So that's not going to be Crown. That's not going to be something like a Shurelia's or something like that either. It is literally just, how much peel can I get from my AD carry? Like, my own safety be damned. Everfrost onto someone who flashes into the backline onto I mean, if you have a Frosted Kennen, I think you're dead anyway. But if maybe you can get onto Lee Sin or Nautilus, maybe that can turn plays just enough. But it's not gonna. It means that Honor's gonna be so easy to pick though. It has to be played very carefully from this point.
Scout not seen just yet, but will be now. They were waiting for this to happen. Scout showed your face. You got TP coming in from Zika on a flank. Tarzan is coming. Tibbers has been popped. Zika, a big game-changing moment on, sacrifices himself for the rest of the team.
Yagao's flash gone, On's life gone, and they don't find the play in the top side. BLG. That is what you have to ignore. You have to avoid this.
He gets caught under tower, though. He will flash. TP's now coming back in from both, and we just do not stop fighting. As Ben with the double counter, he has to get out. Hung has fallen to Elk, and now LP getting shot in the back of the head here by Elk, who now, Ben jumping forward. Tarzan gets away from Shun, and it is just fisticuffs here, Nymeara.
And it is BLG. They lost that first play in the top side, but then they realized, hang on, they can't do that again. They don't have another teleport on Zika. He's just used it. He can't turn up to the play. They make their own counter punch in the mid lane. Importantly so, again, BLG, the way they stay in this game is by punching back on LNG after they've made the big play, or just stop the big play from happening in the first place.
Oh, Elk. Oh, no, Elk, though. You cannot get caught out like that.
You cannot be caught slacking for a moment in this game. Caught overstaying. Tarzan combos onto that. Luckily, no second herald or something like that to throw down. Of course, it's way too late in the game for that one. But LNG, they push in mid lane. They kill
just
the
force
AD
the
carry.
fight
They're
here.
gonna head towards Baron. They have to look for the
I mean,
turn here,
they can force the fight, right? I mean, they don't have the slicing maelstrom, but I think they can pull back with Scouts, Tibbers, and even a big, dragon kick.
Oh, that's the hook.
Double flashes out, knockback onto Hung, but yeah, LNG, they're just waiting for that trap to be sprung here. Everfrost actually connects. Tarzan just wanting to find that big connection. Shun not able to get the fall breaker into the pit. 2,000 health, but there they go into the fight. Nice cease and desist. Tarzan's back. He's dead. Final spark comes out, but a big slicing maelstrom on the back line. And Zika, he is not enough just yet because Ben will not let this one go. And Yagao, he's the one left, but he does not have a saving grace to his name, as one more ability would seal the deal. You've got the ace in the hole from Elk from behind, but it's not enough. A double kill for LNG.
It's windy weather. It's stormy weather. Zika gets the play that BLG have been trying to deny him the entire game. It's not, however, going to lead to the Baron. It's a lot of kills, but it hasn't broken the game just yet. Honestly, seriously good play from BLG to stop Tarzan getting a big play. The Vial goes through the Lee Sin kick, which means that actually the Vial manages to stay in the play. But you do manage to stay right in the area that Zika wants you to. Gets into it, manages to get the huge combo, which BLG have been so afraid of this entire game. It's the solo laners of LNG that just about managed to clear up that last kill using Tibbers' bodyguard for the line skill shots. But we're back to it again. No Kennen ultimate this time.
It was another double kill to LP. He is now on 3 items. That shield bow is completed. He's got a longsword in tow as well, and the LNG item spike is definitely here, but they won't contest this dragon. They are fine leaving these situations to big pickouts unless you can get a steal.
A worthwhile attempt. Worthwhile attempt indeed. So after all that gold was picked up though, because that's the big the advantage which LNG just got from that fight. They got a lot of kill gold. 3 items onto LP. That's a shield bow and a bloodthirster. That is so much shielding coming through. Trying to think of actually
look at that health bar. It's literally a quarter shield.
And that means that even if you land an opportunistic kind of pick onto LP, you cannot finish that kill very easily.
They're just doing it again. They want to find On. Tarzan! He doesn't get locked down, but Tarzan hasn't found exactly what he's looking for. Re-engage from Shun. The slicing maelstrom. It's on to 1. Final spark across the backline. Ben gets a double counter strike at BLG. They look like they're trying to fight back, but nice flash over the wall from Scout. They get a little bit of damage from Yagao. Yagao is trying to bring them back from the brink, but can he do it? Scout is gone, and Yagao picks up a double kill, and Tarzan goes down too. He is the Spider-Man that is holding together BLG!
And at the turning of the tide, it is Yagao which saves his team. BLG, they'd eaten a couple of bad fights back to back, and even in that fight, Tarzan gets the kick onto Elk. The AD carry is gone very early into that fight. but there's enough damage from the arrayed members of BLG. Bin in the backline, Yagao firing through. Enough of these Qs, the threaded volleys to get anything. That's the volley,
No
that's
way.
the ult from... It's gone already. The way the observers did that, I was wondering if it was going to come back for something more, but BLG fighting it back from the brink. Okay, let's try and catch out the key moments here. Hook misses, kick onto Elk, gets right into the Nautilus passive, into the Nautilus ult. As soon as you see the Caitlyn out of things, normally you think that's kind of game over, but actually, Shun has done a great job of dealing with the 3-man unit on the left side.
Yagao is doing so much damage.
And Yagao and Bin, the solo laners of BLG, they managed to keep themselves safe and keep themselves doing damage. And somehow LP can't clean up house.
All I'm saying is we got to get Yagao into like a rock skipping contest at this point. This man was just pelting people with those things. And now BLG are feeling confident to move forward with this comp they have, and they have the catch-out tools.
Shun in the enemy jungle, as he's seen, manages to queue out. But now we're at a point where gold is in BLG's favor. Obviously, it's later into the game that gold is not as impactful as it was, but the item advantages which were there for LNG before, not necessarily there now. Baron goes down. LNG gonna have to eat that one up. Kennen ult into the Draven. Not sure that's the most valuable thing you can do, especially with the amount
The
of...
shield just goes down for a minute.
Yeah, maybe hit it on someone that doesn't have sustain, but I guess they didn't get the memo on that one. His shield going to be down for now, doesn't have access to extra minions, which means he can't walk up and get himself
the biggest
extra
thing for
shielding.
me, though, is that both teams have such high-end burst potential. Like, literally one mistake for both sides mean a team fight going either way.
Absolutely. We've seen Tarzan really struggle to team fight into Yagao's Unraveled Earth. He just kind of dashes in, gets immediately stunned, and that's kind of his fight over. We see multiple lanes being pushed in from BLG. They're looking to go towards 1-4. Bin doesn't have the teleport right now, though. And we're getting to the point where Zika's going to have flash ultimate again on the Kennen. That's very important to notice. Lots of flashes coming up for LNG. You're not going to have scouts. That's important to know. But BLG, despite their real team fighting craziness they've shown in the last few minutes, this isn't over yet. There is always a world where a combo lands from LNG and important members are immediately taken out.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
mean,
power
that's a
of this
3-item
comp.
spike for LP, too. So it's looking real good.
If the CC comes in front of him from the Kennen, from the tippers, whatever, like that's enough for the Draven to start ending fights. So BLG cannot afford to slip up right now. You got to keep everything disciplined. Got to keep everything really ship shape. Cannot allow this to slip. They're pushing over the Baron. Teleport from Zika. A deep teleport behind. But Yagao's coming in early.
Yagao's
Zika's
coming
not
in,
at the play now.
Yeah, that's a block-off fight. He waited for the minion wave to go by. He will be sneaking into the backside of BLG.
Oh,
this
Zika.
is big.
Has he done it?
He's done it. He's found the angle. They've got to go in. They've got to capitalize.
There he is!
They have gotten out, but he gets the dash. The 90 caliber net out, and now LNG, they're in some trouble. You got to look back, though. LP flashing for the kills. He's dodging out. He has the moves. He has the flexibility. And LNG, they're getting turned around on here, but they're trying to find a front to back that doesn't exist in their eyes. Shun has come back to Scout. LP, they don't have much left. He's trying to get some damage on the Scout, but now the counter-strike, the shield bow, it's not enough weight. He goes down, Scout. He can't find the damage. Can he get Yagao? But he gets bursted out, and that's an ace for BLG.
That is absolutely insane from BLG. How the heck have they gone away with that one? It felt like it was the real thread, the needle moment. Teleport way behind enemy lines. We've been waiting for this the entire time. But they don't group up onto the Kennen ultimate. BLG, they managed to retreat in an orderly way so Zika doesn't get maximum value out of this ultimate. Maybe they smelled something was off. And LP actually doesn't have the easiest team fight. He's zoned out at first. There's an incredibly clutch Lux Q comes right after this point too. It lands in a couple of seconds right there. If LP is allowed to walk forward, land one more axe, Bin is down, Yagao probably follows him. It is these key clutch moments which are solving things for BLG. It's hero moments from players like Yagao and the rest of his team, which are just about tipping the scales.
What an incredible back and forth. We finally get the series that we needed here to pump some blood into the veins, and it is a back and forth slugfest between BLG and LNG with this decent gold lead here, about 6,000 for BLG though, even in this later part of the game. It'll be another item completed for Yagao, and we're looking for these catch-outs to continue to be there for BLG. They've got all the tools available now as well.
They do, and they've denied tools from LNG, or rather LNG have burned them, right? No flash on the Kennen, that's the real big one. No flash on Scout still. As those tools are down, the teamfight engage becomes a lot harder from LNG, and you can see that even when BLG have had their backline engaged onto you, Elk's been caught out. Someone like Bin's still in the front line, and Bin at 3 items on the Jax. This teamfight performance from Bin also cannot go understated. Feels like as soon as the AD carry's gone, you still kind of have like a melee AD carry in the Jax, right? He's wailing away with his auto attacks, and that has been a difference maker.
And a little piece of, a little bit of respect, I feel like, as well, is Shun has gone a lot of times in these fights, in this game particularly, under the radar, right? He's fighting access on the backline that the rest of LNG are kind of just leaving him. Yeah, and he was able to get a flash kill onto Zika in the last fight, and it ended up being the pincer trap that BLG collapsed on LNG. So there's a lot of give and take in these, but everyone from BLG is stepping up to the plate.
We're back to, I'm not going to say the calm before the storm, because the storm is still raging. We just found ourselves a brief reprieve from it.
It's raining sideways! I don't know.
It's raining sideways. That it is. It is inclement weather all across the rift. LNG, they need to find some way into the backline again. They have sparing vision coverage. They have one pink ward right up in the top alcove. Actually, that just got
That's
replaced
fourth
just
item
now as we
for
spoke
LP,
about
though.
it. And LP does have a huge amount of items. That's great, but how is he going to reach that backline? And it's very much struggling to do so at this point. Baron being shredded down. BLG took control of vision on the top side of the map, forcing LNG out of their comfort zone, away from vision.
Zika will have TP soon, but he doesn't have it now, and Bin has already collapsed, and now it's a 4v5. LNG got to fight their way out of this one, but there ain't no fighting tonight. The Everfrost comes through clutch. Tibbers comes back in desperation, but LNG will be left for naught, and a double kill for Elk.
LNG, they've tried to thread the needle, but it is just not going their way. BLG masterfully controlling areas of the map, making sure they're not under threat from the huge teamfight combo of LNG. And after how dominant the first game was, BLG, this is a breath of fresh air. Particularly Shun found it so hard to impact the first game. Same with Yagao. This mid-jungle duo, though, going back 9-1-6, 7-3 and 12. They have absolutely clapped back.
And it came off the back of just some gritty play from Yagao to set things back to standard, and then complete execution for BLG.
Was just kind of finding the right timing where LNG over-pushing mid lane. They don't have Zika's TP. They don't have flash on scout or anything for either a disengage or an aggressive motion. They take the numbers advantage, and really LNG feels like they're falling into some real desperation moments now. They understand that the combo hasn't really worked so well so far. Haven't managed to get the maximum value out of it. They're pushing just a little too hard and getting caught slipping for it.
And this is the kind of bounce back we needed from BLG as a whole, right? That first game was quiet, we said, from them, and this game has been anything but. It is 25-18. We're at 3 dragons to BLG with one more spawning in a minute. There's some TP wards behind. Zika has the weapon available.
It does, but it's a long way off. And remember, BLG, they managed to survive one of these flank TPs already just by splitting, allowing Bin to go forwards and buy space with Shun. Zika's on vision right now. He has to clear out these waves. Baron buff still very much in full fruition from BLG. Shun charging up the Q, maybe looking for an engage, forcing terms on their own ground.
There's a Weaver's Wall coming across. There should be another inhib tower down. See if they can utilize
teleport.
this. Min in third. Yep, they got Yagao, though, botting him right now. And Zika, he can't really find an in. He's trying to figure out where to use it. But they've already gotten Shun on the other side. Now big slicing Maelstrom, but it is all for naught. And the storm has come for LNG as their health bars cannot stay in the fight. We said it's rated sideways, but it's raining all Bilibili Gaming. A triple kill, and BLG put the finishing touches on game number 2.
An absurd team fighting performance from BLG brings us back to even. We're going the distance in our second series of the day. Bring on game 3.
We won't go to the most kills in LPL Spring Split just yet, but it is almost there, and we are almost at the culmination of this day of games. What a way to bring us into game 3. A non-existent felt like BLG in game 1 just smacks LNG up the mouth.
I don't even know who you credit first on BLG. Probably Yagao, stabilizing the map, using the Weaver's Wall to turn up the plays, punishing this bot lane when they were just out of position, a little over pushed. But this was an ensemble performance. Bin on the Jax talked about him being the second damage threat, even after Elk was sometimes, picked off in these fights. Bin could carry that on as well. Shun finished on an incredible KDA on the Vi after having a kind of being shut out at game 1. And on as well on the Lux, we saw a couple of really clutch bindings through in team fights. This was a hell of a team fighting game from BLG.
Yeah, and it came, again, like you had said, across the board for them. But it really was those, early game, mid-game fights where Yagao was just somehow able to pelt rocks into LNG every step of the way. And it really was this Taliyah pick that I felt like unlocked BLG a lot of times. This is a pick I wanted to see from Yagao here. It was something we got to see him really pop off on the last time around. And it was something that I feel like plays to the strengths of BLG a lot by getting Yagao out of lane.
Yeah, and the Azir in the first game against the Jace can kind of struggle a little bit early. We saw what happened as soon as Jace got the first kill. It felt like Yagao just didn't have options to impact the game. But even then, he had 1 or 2 shuffles, which nearly made the impact he could.
Yeah.
But it's not nearly the same as Taliyah going across the map, building up that crown so he could even dive in even further, take up the first skill shots, and make himself really known in those team fights. So yeah, going into game 3, lots to think about now from LNG to see what they can really do. The damage numbers are high across the board. This was still a very close game. It did feel like at any moment Zika could find that miracle flank, but serious credits for BLG to control the vision, control their retreats, and not ever give Zika the perfect engage.
The biggest scary point was the fact that LP was just racking up kills on the Draven. And you were like, okay, when is this going to actually come into anything? And you got to see some of those moments. But again, you had pointed out before one of the big Baron fights that the lack of range, it was difficult for LP to get a lot of these fights when you had that setup from a distance that BLG had.
Yeah, when you're having to walk over the Unraveled Earth from the Taliyah, when you have to walk over traps and the Lux E's, you don't have enough range or movement speed to really just keep chasing people down, which is why you needed the big team fight engage to work out. It didn't become a game about the Draven. It became a game of, does the team fight CC land? And sadly for LNG, it didn't really.
Yeah, you got to hope it maybe finds purchase in game number 3. But we are going to take a little break while we get ready for that final game of the day.